No,
How do you characterize the race?
I don't like to say something's over before it's over, and I think Democrats should be running scared, as they should in every election. But demographically, forget Donald Trump's negatives. Demographically, all she has to do is win what Democrats typically win in Florida, and this race is over. And so the reality is, with the numbers that Donald Trump is showing right now, with the fact that he's still fighting with the Republicans as opposed to consolidating his own base, with the fact that he's having a very tough time, it looks like, raising the money he's going to need. He's got no infrastructure in place. It's hard to raise $1 billion in 6 months. I just don't see how he puts this together. The math doesn't add up.
She's going to lose in West Virginia. That's for sure, Boris.
Okay, so what? That's a very important state for the general, right? So she's going to lose. Of course it is. West Virginia, North Carolina, Virginia are important for the general. Now, for what Julie said, right, if she wins all 50 states, she'll be the president. So just to toss in Florida so lightly is a mistake. Florida is a second home for Trump. She did very well in Florida in the primaries, better than she did in her primary. So I would expect Florida to absolutely go for Donald Trump in November. You have 6 months left to go until the general. He's going to build up. He's already built up the financing operation. Mnuchin's in there, who's got deep ties all over the country. So I'm very confident that going in, Trump has a great chance. And then, as we were talking about the debates, he's going to be so much better than her in those debates. Think about how watched those debates are going to be. He's going to run circles around her on everything.
You think so? Because I'm wondering this, because I wonder, she's just going to keep saying, well, when I dealt with this country and that country, when I did all of this, she's going to bring up her experience.
But the things that play well in primaries, and no disrespect, the things that play well to a certain demographic of men doesn't play well to women, and it doesn't play well to minorities. You're talking about Florida. How many Hispanic people are in Florida? 82% of Hispanics have a negative view of this man. Right now, he needs to start pivoting from the audience he already has to the audience he needs. And listen, I feel like the Debbie Downer every time I have this conversation, but we have to start going out to a different audience. And it's an audience traditionally Republicans keep losing over and over again. So someone needs to show
He's already doing that. He's already making that pivot. So
he is?
Of course he is.
All he's doing right now is attacking Paul Ryan, attacking other Republicans.
He's not attacking Paul. He's having a meeting with Paul Ryan and Reince Priebus tomorrow.
He did attack Paul Ryan.
Let's not make more of a story of that than it should be.
I'm not making more of a story of it. He's asking Paul Ryan to possibly step down as the convention chair.
Paul Ryan said, hold on a second, let's be fair. Paul Ryan said, if asked, I will step down.
This looks fantastic. It looks amazing. I mean, I just can't sit here and
fighting as Republicans doesn't look good either.
But wait a second. Let's get back to the real story. The real story is there are 94 million people not participating in this labor market. Okay? 8 years of this muck. And the economy in November might be garbage. So putting conventional metrics on this thing at this point in the race, I think doesn't apply. Well, this is not the year.
Let me say this. First and foremost, we've been waiting for the economy to be in the muck for the entire Obama administration. And as you know, it may not be in the greatest place in the world, but it keeps steadily improving.
Julie.
And let me say this.
President Obama has not been able to oversee 1 year above 3% economic growth. His entire presidency, it's averaging 1.5% economic growth.
But the point is that you have Donald Trump, who right now, a few days ago, basically said the United States could potentially default on its debt. The full faith and credit, the United States, the stuff that's written on the dollar bill, he's going to suddenly renegotiate like a failed casino.
I think his comment did hurt him, though.
I disagree. The comment was about the debt.
It wasn't
about. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. The comment was not about the dollar bill or the $100 bill. It was about the debt. If you have a mortgage on your house and you have the opportunity to refinance that mortgage at a low rate, does that mean you can't pay?
Is there anything he's doing, or is there anything he's doing right now you don't like? Or you don't agree with?
Throughout the campaign.
No, this is my issue.
Well, you asked me a question, so let me answer, right? Throughout the campaign, I didn't like the negative stuff. I was out on air talking about it. Right now, I think he is making the pivot to the general, and he's doing a good job at it. I really do. And there's a lot of time. Listen, he's only 8 months into being, or 9 months into being a politician. 6 months till the election. That's a whole lot of time for him to build up an operation, build up a political and financial operation.
And they are polar opposites as candidates. She is only scripted. She cannot handle unscripted moments. He is all unscripted. It's a perfect situation.
So then you think he wins in the general election?
Oh, I think he's going to swamp her in the general election.
Wow.
I love hearing Democrats so confident about the electoral
map. You know what? How about this?
You're going to make a bet?
I'm going to make a bet right now. That little wine thing that we saw in the green room that you're going to be previewing, I will bet both of you when it comes on the market that I want that because it looks great.
Okay, you're on.
So you're going to buy it for them, and they're going to buy it for you.
I'll buy you a box of it.
I got to get in on this wager somehow.
But Hillary's negatives are just as high.
Right.
We have the most unpopular candidates in the history of polling. She's incredibly vulnerable. The fact that Bernie Sanders is still in the race and she hasn't knocked him out shows how vulnerable she is. I agree with you that in the debates, he will probably probably smoke her. He says one thing that is misogynistic, one thing that looks anti-women, it's going to be even worse than he could possibly imagine.
But it's not a primary.
The general election is a whole different game.
The GOP, the establishment, whatever that is, the quote-unquote establishment, we're in the same place that the two of you are now 9 months ago. They said there's no way Donald Trump is the nominee. Now he's the nominee, so do not underestimate him.
Did I just say he wasn't going to win? I didn't. I said he has to be careful in the debates not to say anything else misogynistic.
So you think he's going to win the general election?
No, I have no idea. I'm out of the game of predicting what's going to work.
By the way, there's also this FBI investigation, Julie, and now they say they can't find any emails to or from Brian Pagliano, the guy who set up her whole email server.
There's a federal investigation. Let's see what happens. I hope we could all agree that Comey is not a hack, that he's not a partisan, and that if he recommends an indictment, Democrats should live with that. But if he doesn't recommend an indictment, no Republican should go out there and say the FBI is somehow covering for her because they want her to be elected.
We are not going to agree with that because the White House is Democratic. Listen, this guy Brian Pagliano
what's the point, then?
Is already assisting the federal authorities. Remember, we were talking about this on this show a few months ago.
They gave him immunity.
So he has immunity. So this is very interesting what's going to happen from here. The RNC made the request. You cannot find his emails. And now is he going to coordinate with the FBI, going to coordinate with Justice, and release some of those private emails that he undoubtedly has from Clinton? That's going to be fascinating to see.
That just instills the mistrust of Hillary Clinton. This economy is not going to perform well this year, and that's going to instill more. She's going to be carrying the baggage for Barack Obama. He said the other day, Barack Obama said, we didn't spend enough to get out of this crisis. And Hillary Clinton has adopted socialist, Marxist policies of Bernie Sanders.
All right.
That's what people are
He's gone all the way to the left. And do you think the party has changed in the last couple of years, gone way more to the left?
I think both parties have. I think both parties have changed drastically.
But the Dem Party in particular
has gone more to the left. It is not the party of Bill Clinton anymore. But
No, it's not.
But I will also say this. If you're sitting here thinking that Barack Obama's negatives are somehow going to hurt her, he's at over 50%. He's got the same numbers that Reagan had at the end of his term. I mean, and look what happened. We got a third Reagan term.
Wait a second. Reagan had 7.8% GDP at this point of his term.
That's not the point. The point is you're not talking to economists, you're talking to voters, and voters approve of the job that he's doing.
Because he hasn't been in the headlines. He's been irrelevant for months.
Okay, so you want to... Voters overwhelmingly do not trust Clinton. Do not compare Clinton to H.W. Bush in '88. It is a complete...
All right, how about this? How about this?
How much wine you want? We're winning in November.
Great. I'm going to be so drunk. I'm going to be so drunk in November.
The problem is Donald Trump could win 100% of Republican votes. 100% and still lose. This is not the point. I'm sorry, but if you're playing to the base all day long, can you please? I'm so sorry, but 100. I just do not believe the statistic I just told you. It's 100% of Republican voters. He has to start reaching out to independents, to moderates, to different demographics.
He's done really well.